the channel on Collector's Archive, a new series run by Phantom Cave Reviews. We're going to be having a look at Frew the Phantom number 448. So stick in tight and we will have a look at this very, very vintage Phantom comic. And now for the comic. That's what the Phantom comic looks like. It's a little bit banged up, but considering I got this someone gave me this Phantom comic for free, it's not a big of a deal, because I'm actually quite grateful that I actually have an early Phantom comic like this. As I found out, I have two comics of theirs. So I have a near mint copy of this exact Phantom comic, and then I also have one that's a little bit, well, how can we say this, a little bit banged up, you could say, worn to the test of time, as people also say. And I'm wearing cotton gloves because I do not want to wreck this comic book any more than it has to be. I did this the last time I did something in it. This last time I did a video in this series, and I think it was somewhere it was in the 400s, I'm pretty sure. And I did it, and I said that I was wearing cotton gloves for a reason, and it's just to give that added bit of protection. It's like when you're watching that old Antiques Roadshow show. It's like they're wearing gloves for a reason, because they don't want to put extra dust onto the thing they're handling. And obviously they also don't want to be putting fingerprints onto their comic books, which is either comic books or something vintage. I reckon it's very, very important to, if you're a person like I am, and you like to keep things in, well, sort of try and keep things in mint condition, you want to try and protect them, right? So the thing I try and do is, well, we've got cotton gloves on for a reason, because obviously I don't want to put extra dust onto the pages, and obviously I want to try and keep it in as good as condition as it can be, and obviously I don't want to rip it. I want to be gentle when I open these pages, because they are very, very old and could rip. Won't be that great. So in this comic book we have, as always, as another thing I will be saying is that the color that you're seeing up on the screen right now versus the color I'm seeing on the pages, completely different. Completely different. The camera is actually doing something different to what I'm actually seeing on the pages at this moment, because the pages that I'm seeing at the moment, the color of the pages that I'm seeing at the moment is sort of like a tanny brownish type color, and what you're seeing on it is more of a whiter browner type color, and that is not what this comic is actually at. It's actually like a tannish brownish type of color, and without ripping it. And this book, as I will say, has this book pretty much is falling apart. So as you can see right now, and if you're a collector you will know this, but as you can see right now, that right down the spine of the book, a lot of these pages, if these pages didn't have a staple or or two, they'd be starting to fall apart, because that's what holds them together, obviously. But right, you can see down here that down this spine and just here, the spine is starting to roll, which is starting to go that way, which is starting to affect how the book is handled. It's starting to affect how the back page will eventually get shorter by time, and hopefully, if this is how it is right now, it was to keep at this condition into the future, it would eventually fall apart and you'd eventually have to start restoring it. And a lot of people in the comic book community and a lot of people that love older books, and might have a little bit of money, they like to restore their books so that they can see them in their best condition possible, which it should, because hey, we're all collectors of something. We all like to keep something in good nick as possible as we can. Another thing a lot of other people love is when you're just flicking through a page and you just get that sniff of a bit of nostalgia and a bit of like old paper. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm one of those types of people. I know I can be weird, but that's okay. This is the Marshall sisters. I think this one is. I think a lot of people tend to miss Wilson McCoy's artwork for good reason. A lot of his artworks in this story are just representative of the time that they were created in, and it's just simple. It's simple and it's just nice to look at. No wonder people like Wilson McCoy's artwork for a good reason, because it's just nice to look at. Like, you look at this panel here, this panel I think is of Diana Palmer, and she's saying, what does he hope to gain by Shanghaiing me like this? And then another panel says, our orders were to bring you to tea, miss. His tea and his company so awful he has to drag people to join him. What a sharp tongue! His Highness is asking for it. Then they say, they are bringing her. She's coming, with 49 wives already. What's he so excited about? Such a boy. I just make a good first impression. I think she'll like this perfume. I hope not. It's mine. This art and the story is representative of the time that it was created in, because this story would have been created by Lee Falk. Art would have been created by Wilson McCoy. Now, the reason why I say that is a lot of stories that we have seen where Lee Falk is obviously Lee Falk is the creator of the Phantom. He's also a big part of why the Phantom is who he is today. But a lot of the stories we have seen in his era and his take on the Phantom enjoy it. Like they put dry humor into a story, which I absolutely love. I love dry humor, and that just couple that what I just read there is representative of the time the people used to live in, and the time that and people that used to live in that time. You talk to anyone that's still from that time, they probably have dry humor. You talk to anyone that's around in the that was born in the late in the 50s and into the 60s and even into the 70s, who have dry humor. They're usually the funniest people in the crowd, because it's just witty, sharp, and dry, and it's awesome. Like there's this other panel just here, and it says, "This is no longer a joke. This idiotic prince means it. Guest room. This is a prison room. You tried to run away, my dear. People would laugh at me. Bay, I can't marry you. You are already married. In my country, this is not allowed. You are in my country. Why do you refuse me? Do you not think me handsome? Yes, you're pretty, but I love another man." And then so the Phantom comes. "How could you love another man after seeing me? I admit it's hard to imagine, but I do." There's also, like, in this story and many other stories Lee has wrote, it's just good writing. Like, he's had like nearly 60 odd years to develop his craft and keep on writing good stories. And then when he passed away in 1999, I think a lot of people miss that today's day. I think a lot of people miss that. Is he trapped up there? Whoever you are, come down or we'll shoot you down. Life-size picture of the Phantom. This book was first published in 1971 and distributed by Gordon and Gotch Limited, Sydney, Melbourne. King Features Syndicate Inc. 1971. World rights reserved. Distributors Gordon and Gotch Limited, Sydney, Melbourne. Free stamps for 10 cents. Special introductory offer. Send your order to 7 Seas Stamps Pty Ltd, Sterling Street, Dubbo, New South Wales. Dubbo. Huh. So this may not be still available, so I would suggest not sending your coupons and your money here, because you won't be getting, I don't think you will be getting the same price for these nowadays than you would be getting back in these days. Back in these days when time was so much simpler and I was not around. So I hope you enjoyed having a look at Frew the Phantom number 448. I hope you have been enjoying this series of looking at some very, very collectible items, very collectible items from the archive. And as always, there will be more videos like this coming very, very soon. And as always, Cave Phantom Caving, stay safe, and you'll see me on the channel at some point.